Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you get your questions into us and we get our answers out and everyone feels great about the process. Now, the reason why this works so well is we turn up every week, but also you keep asking questions. So let's make sure that keeps happening by giving you the pieces of information that you will need to do so.
Yeah, don't sit there wondering. Give us a call on 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. Or you can go to propertyhub.net/ask. Either way, leave us a voicemail and follow in the fine footsteps of Brendan here.
Hi, Rob and Rob. It's Brendan here. Love what you're doing with the podcast. Keep it up, boys. Just got a quick question about the 18-year property cycle. I was just wondering, do real estate investment trusts experience the same sort of growth in this boom period as the same as residential property? Love to hear your thoughts, boys. Thank you. Bye.
Brendan, thank you for the question. So for anyone who doesn't know, REITs, or real estate investment trusts, are a way of owning property collectively. It's like an institutional form of property ownership. So basically, a company is formed, that company buys property and rents it out, and people buy shares in that company so they can get the benefit of the rental income from the portfolio, and their shares can potentially grow in value as the value of that portfolio increases over time, without those shareholders having to do any of the messy bits of property ownership. And the thing that makes REITs different from any other company that happens to own property is that it doesn't have to pay corporation tax. So all the rental profits are not taxed before they get passed on to the shareholders. So that's the background. What about the actual question? Do REITs experience the same sort of growth during the boom period? Well, the answer is it completely depends on what property assets the REIT actually owns. The way I think about it is that the REIT itself is just a structure. It's almost like a wrapper around the property itself. And it's the selection of the assets inside that wrapper that have the potential to go up in value. Most REITs invest in commercial property, and the commercial property is cyclical, but the cycle doesn't necessarily play out in the same way as it does for residential property. And there are also big distinctions within commercial property. For example, retail has had an absolutely terrible year for obvious reasons. So if there's a REIT that specialises in holding shopping centres, which some of them do, they won't have done very well. So you can't just go, oh, I think REITs are a good thing to invest in, I'll go and buy one. It's what it invests in is really important. Another factor is whether that REIT uses gearing or leverage, as we'd normally call it in property investment. Those that do, like an individual property investor who does the same, is going to benefit more from any growth in the market that occurs. Obviously, they will be more badly affected by the busts as well. But if you are looking for growth in your fund, that is an important thing to look for. So to finally get around to answering your question directly, do REITs experience growth in a boom? Yes, they can do, but it depends on the type of asset they own. If they own residential property, which not many do, then of course they're going to benefit in a residential property boom. And if they use leverage, that magnifies the effect of changes in prices, as you would expect. So Brendan, hope that helps. And even though REITs are more hands-off than any other type of property investment, still do your research. Approach it as you would any other investment you would make.
Okay, there you go, Brendan. A nice comprehensive answer from Rob D. Very good, Rob. Let's see if I can help our next listener out.
Hi, Rob and Rob. My name's Antonio from London. I have a quick question regarding capital gains tax. I had a small portfolio for the last 20 years, which I would maybe like to sell. My accountant has informed me that I don't have to pay capital gains tax if I move back into the property for maybe 6 months to a year. I lived there initially for 2 to 3 years. They then have been rented out for the past 15 years. And he's saying if I move back in for 6 months to a year, I don't have to pay capital gains tax as it will be my principal private residence. Your thoughts on this would be greatly appreciated because I don't think that is true. Many thanks.
I don't know how I got the tax question, but thank you, Antonio. I'll have a go at it for you. And the reason I'm going to have a go at it, and I want to say that I don't know the answer definitively, I can't tell you exactly the answer you need. The reason I want to have a go is because I think your accountant is wrong. So you are going to have to pay some capital gains tax. And I think you need to go and get better advice and don't ask it around. Now, this is not to have a go at your accountant. It's just that on the information you've given, you should not have been told you'll have no capital gains tax to pay. Now, you've lived there for a few years. So the good news is you will be able to have some capital gains tax relief. And you'll be able to get some capital gains tax relief towards the end of the property as well, around 9 months. And I don't believe you actually need to move into the property to get that 9 months relief as well. So moving in for 6 months to 1 year does not mean that you'll suddenly have no capital gains tax bill. Now, unless there's some niche ruling about where you've lived during the time away from the property that I don't understand, I think you need to go and get more advice. So this is probably not the answer you wanted to hear, Antonio, but the answer you needed to hear. Go out there, get more advice from an expert who really knows, and have a check, because otherwise you could be lumped with a tax bill that you weren't expecting, and nobody likes that.
They certainly don't. Sometimes on Ask Rob and Rob, the best answer is go speak to an expert, and tax is normally a situation where that is the case. But hopefully by listening to this, you've given yourself enough knowledge to question the advice that you're getting and maybe get a second opinion. We're going to be back with 2 more questions next Tuesday on Ask Rob and Rob, of course, and before then, we'll see you for the Property Podcast on Thursday. Until then, have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.